I have a question. If social media were to disappear from your life entirely today, no Facebook, no Instagram, no Snapchat, no TikTok, would your life be better or would it be worse? Just your life. That's the question.
Smells really nice. Grass cutting. Man, check out that baby Porsche. Damn.
Okay, so I watched a documentary recently on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, and if you haven't watched it, then it is about the story of a few Silicon Valley engineers who were there in these big companies like Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest when they were just booming right up. And they talk about how these social media platforms were engineered in a way to hold your attention as much as they can. So the documentary dramatizes and then also talks about with a few other scientists to show us that how we are being manipulated by all these big companies. Well, this is not really a review, but I wanted to talk about three things. First, what I liked about the documentary. The second is what I didn't like about the documentary. And the third is what the documentary could have done better. So the first thing, what did I like about the documentary? Well, the biggest thing that I really liked about the documentary was that it actually was very informative. It talked to a bunch of engineers who were there at the very onset of when these companies were booming, and they told us the inside story of how even the smallest of details are engineered, from the colors to the buttons to the scrolling to everything is engineered in a way to hold your attention to, so that you are there using that app as much as you can. It dramatizes it. It also talks about with a few other scientists who tell us that, okay, this problem has gone way, way worse. It talks about the teen girl mental health issues, which have just boomed up since the last 10 years. So overall, I think the biggest aspect that I really liked about this documentary was that it was very informative. It brought the spotlight to an issue which has been lurking for such a long time. And honestly, I feel that the golden age of social media is long over. I mean, I think somewhere around 2011 and 2012 we started to go downhill a little bit. But anyway, this was what I really liked about the documentary. Second point, what I really didn't like about the documentary. So what the documentary portrays is that there are a bunch of engineers sitting in Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest, which are manipulating us and making us do all these things and holding our attention. But I would disagree here very strongly. But I believe that we as human beings as individuals, we do have agency, we do have control, at least over ourselves. To say that, I mean, we are just puppets and those engineers sitting in the Silicon Valley are, puppeteering us with their algorithms, I don't think that's entirely good to say. I mean, even if it were true, we would absolve ourselves of all responsibility. Like, it's not my fault that I am spending 4, 5, 8 hours on my cell phone every day, and it's just that Facebook or Instagram, it's just their fault. I don't think I don't think that is true, because as individuals we do have agency, we do have our own will, and I think if we want to exercise that, then that would make a difference. I believe that if we take responsibility, then we are able to overcome that addiction. I've done that multiple times in my life because I saw the rise of the social media, the cell phone and everything. So I'm from an era myself where I grew up reading books, and then suddenly the cell phone came in, and then social media, and all my habits just tanked. So I know, but I also know that if I don't take responsibility for it myself, then I don't think I will ever be able to overcome that. Number 3, what the documentary could have done better. Now, the documentary in the very end, near the credits, talks about a little bit how we can overcome these things. They talk about, some practical things. For example, turning off the notifications, having strict rules about having cell phones in your bedrooms, having, don't let children use cell phones at least before they get into high school, which I think are really commendable. But I think that they should have spent more time a lot more time, I would say at least a quarter of the documentary, talking in depth more about these things. Okay, so why exactly are we addicted to them? I mean, it's not just a thing about cell phones, it's about the information that is coming through them, and what is it that we lack in our lives that makes us keep coming back to the phones. Because I have seen in myself that if I am bored or stressed or feeling not so happy with myself or anywhere, then I just turn back to my cell phone. So I think it is this aspect, it is this individual personal aspect that I think the documentary could have expanded a little bit more on. But these are just my thoughts. Overall, I think that you should definitely watch the documentary. Watch the documentary. It highlights a very important issue, even though I think it sometimes dives into being a little clickbaity and a little cringy at times. Okay, so in the start I asked the question, if the social media would disappear entirely from the world today, would it be a net positive or net negative for your life? And I would really like to hear your thoughts on that. But to answer my own question, I think it would be a net negative, because for me, social media, even though I am very much addicted to it myself, I check it like 60 times a day, but overall I feel that social media has enabled to bring voices to people who are not so privileged. It has enabled revolutions in regimes where it wouldn't have been possible otherwise. It has enabled people to have their own businesses. It has enabled so many people to lift out of poverty themselves, and I think that this addiction and mental health issue that of course is bringing on with the social media is an unintended consequence of something, and I think it's just there because we as humans are imperfect, and whatever we base on top of this is bound to be imperfect, and we need to work on that, and we need to have a dialogue, and we need to continuously inform ourselves on how we can do better.